All right, we're just getting live into the social media universe here. And there we are. I think we are live. And good morning, everyone. Deanna, thank you for joining us.
Hey, so honored to be back in the co-host seat.
It's been a long time. We've missed you. Absolutely. Everybody watching, Irismar is on a flight right now to Kelowna, BC for a women's real estate investor retreat. She's hanging out with about a dozen women out there. So I'm definitely missing her. But Deanna has graciously offered to fill the co-host seat. So thank you so much, Deanna.
Yeah, no, always great to be back here. And hello, everyone. Great to see everyone. Probably some new faces. You keep building up this big audience here. So
Yeah, we're very fortunate. We've definitely met a lot of new people this year. 2023 has been a great year. We've just been going out to a lot of different meetups and educational platforms and just learning and growing and meeting a bunch of great people. Just really love it. But Deanna, I assume everybody knows you, but for those of you who don't, please just give yourself an introduction there.
okay, well, hello. For those who don't know me, my husband Darcy and I are based in Calgary. We live part-time in California and get to spend some time down in the Caribbean each year. But we invest across Canada and the US as well, and have been investing for a lot of years. I think it starts with a 2 now, which, yes, has been great. And just recently we started doing more development. And last year we launched WellShare, which is our private REIT with some great partners here in Western Canada. So that's been kind of keeping us out of trouble lately.
That's great and amazing what you guys have been accomplishing, and putting that REIT together is no small feat. I'm sure it must have taken a lot of time and dedication. So thank you for bringing such a quality product to investors so they can invest in the Alberta market.
Well, thank you. You know, it's been a labor of love, I have to say. We've been passive investors for so many years, and we love it. I mean, it has helped us to change our lives and transform our portfolio with passive investing. And so for Darcy and I to be able to do this, it was really important. It's just a great evolution. And some of the things that we want to do, we say we want to share the wealth of knowledge. We want to get second gen investors in there, or parents, siblings who are a little apprehensive. So it's been really great to see the support that we've gotten from people. And I think that's just, all of us are so passionate about sharing real estate with others that this has been a really interesting way for us to do so, as we, got bigger and bigger opportunities, but also to help people expand, because real estate's a rough ride right now. I'm
Oh
allowed to
yeah.
say that. I'm going to say that out loud. I've been talking to a lot of investors the past few months, this last rate hike. We have a mortgage on one property that went from, it's a small multi, went from 2,600 a month to 2,400 to 3,600
Yeah.
through these rate hikes. So it's some tough times out there for people. And so I think it's important that, we look at diversifying, we look at other things to do. For those of you who are struggling, like, just know that a lot of people are in the same boat. And, I've heard we got to stick with it. Just stick with it. Hang on to your properties. We'll make it through this. But, it's a great time of year. Jim, I'm a planner. I love my planning. But we're halfway through the year. So it's a good time to sit down with that plan, take a look at it. And some of these properties may not be serving you well. You may be in a market where you can sell them. Or, you might need to pivot. Maybe do something passive. I know for a lot of people, some of their passive money is all that's keeping them afloat, private lending or investing in other projects. So I kind of want to make sure that people understand, like, don't hang on to those properties just because some guru told you have to. Let's do what we need to do to get through these times, because there's some people who are hurting out there with properties. And so, let's be smart about it. It's a great time of year. Take a pause, reflect, and decide what you want to do, and make sure your portfolio is serving you.
Great.
And look at other ways to raise cash capital, as you need to, but hang in there. We're mid-year through this. We keep thinking these rates can't go up, but maybe, maybe a nudge or two more, but hang on. But don't
Yeah,
feel that
yeah.
you're locked into anything.
Absolutely. Great point, and great time of year to take a midway look at your plan and your goals and make sure you're on track. And, if you are feeling down and you're feeling like it's tough times with these interest rates and the payments, for those of you guys watching, remember to reach out to somebody. There's a lot of people in the same boat. Maybe some people are a little bit more supportive for you, and, always reach out. But thank you, Deanna. That's awesome. And let's get our next guest in here, Deanna. Uh, of
Yay!
course, of course, we have Mike Seal from Referral Network Realty, and Mike Seal has brought with us Richard Harding, also from out in this neck of the woods here in the southwestern Ontario. Good morning, Mike. Thanks for joining us.
Hi. Hey guys, how are you?
Doing wonderful, buddy. Doing wonderful. We're looking forward. We're getting a lot of rain here in southern Ontario. Hopefully it's happening. Hopefully it's happening up north with the forest fires that Ontario is experiencing, and the rest of the country. Hope everybody's getting a little bit of rain to slow down those forest fires. But appreciate having you guys on the show. Thank you so much, Mike. If you don't mind, just sharing with the community who you brought on and this beautiful community that you guys have created called the Referral Network Realty.
Yeah, so Referral Network Realty is a go-to place for real estate investors to get connected to top investor-focused realtors all across North America. Our goal is to kind of work hand in hand with each investor to figure out what market's going to help them achieve their goals, and then strategize and help them build their teams in those various markets. So I've gotten the great opportunity to bring on someone who I've known probably close to a decade now that I've worked with, is Richard Harding. Richard actually covers a really unique part, which I think is kind of the hidden gem of southwestern Ontario. You're looking at things from Port Franks all the way up to Point Clark. So, some people know where Goderich is, Grand Bend, Bayfield area. So all along that Huron coastline is the market that Richard kind of handles for people. So, we always hear people talk about going cottage country, but realistically, there's cottage country not too far from home in a lot of cases that I think a lot of people sometimes overlook. So I thought it was a really good idea to bring Richard on, because it's one of those markets that are kind of in a hustle and bustle. When you go just a little bit north of that market, you got to remember you've got that Southampton area, Port Elgin region, and that's the Huron Bruce Power Facility stuff that's going on out there on that side of the market too. So those are all Kincardine, those are all kind of markets that Richard's going to be able to handle for us when people are looking in that market.
Oh, wow.
I will
Great.
guys now to have a talk with Richard.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Richard. Appreciate it. How was everything going out in your neck of the woods there?
Here, busy. That
Yes.
nice. As you were saying about the rain today, it's good. We got a little bit of rain today, so that's a plus.
Now, with Mike's description of the area that you focus on out there, I can imagine that the sunsets are spectacular.
Yes, the best in the world is what people continue to say, and we hear that about many areas, but they are glorious for sure.
Absolutely. So, has there been an uptick in market activity out your way in the past few years, or what?
Yeah, over the last, I've been in this area for about 25 years now. My business partner, I work with a partner, Barb Potter. We're a team that covers the area, and we've been together, working together for combined about 20 years, and we've seen quite an uptick in the last 10 years. Kind of sleepy rural farming area to some extent, although Goderich has been vibrant, as has been Grand Bend. But Grand Bend historically was more of a summer, people would come in. It would be basically a dark window syndrome in the wintertime, although that's changing now.
Oh, wow.
You have a lot of people that 10 years ago, they were looking to buy a place that they would come and spend the summer or rent out to family members and friends. And now they're residing here. So, and that's the same for Bayfield as well, and up and down the shoreline. It's quite a dramatic change in the last 10 years.
Now, is it short-term rental friendly, or do they have some?
It is.
Very
Yeah, we cover 7 different municipalities and they all attack it differently. So my background in the municipal field for many years, I've written zoning bylaws and those kinds of regulations. So I'm sort of tuned into what's going on, and some attack the STRs, vigorously and put limits on maximum number of people, 10 people, maximum. They need to be registered. There's a lot of small requirements. Nothing really that onerous, though, yet. And yet other areas up towards Kincardine with Huron-Kinloss, right now, they don't have anything in place. They're just monitoring what's going on with short-term rentals and are considering some things, but doubtful anything will happen in the near future.
Okay, and Mike mentioned the Bruce Power. Is there much industry up there to accommodate the medium-term rental market?
No, there really isn't. I mean, it's again, Bruce has been expanding, well, continuously. But with that, there has been, some of that market has been attended to. There has been a fair amount of new development as well. So yeah, you are seeing that. But the people who work at the Bruce, they're up and down, anywhere within half an hour or 40 minutes of the Bruce. They're renting places, and we're looking at places well south of Kincardine that people are renting for while they work at the Bruce. So,
okay,
Richard, quick question. I used to work with Bruce Power in my previous life, so I know that expansion.
yeah.
But I love your municipal background. Are any of these municipalities looking at it the other way? I know that, for example, Teeswater was giving grants to people who would come in and revive some of their main streets and trying to bring businesses in to fix that dark window syndrome that you talk about. So are any of them sort of more friendly to businesses, people who want to, open up a bricks and mortar, or come and restore some of these beautiful Main Street buildings, get some tenants upstairs and a commercial on the Main Street?
Yes and no. When I started with municipality in Central Huron, so we covered a large chunk of the shoreline that I was the CAO for, and we developed a program there that we assisted people with improving the facades of their buildings. I came from out west. I spent many years in Dawson City, Yukon, and up and down the BC. And brought a lot of the ideas that were, happening out there back in the 90s, and just weren't happening here in Ontario. So we introduced a few things, and others have picked up on that in recent years now, where they are looking for ways to try and assist, because a lot of it, though, comes from the planning side of it. If the planning departments, that regulate the areas for the local counties, if they're not willing to look at some of the reconfiguration of some of those downtown buildings where they have commercial maybe on the main floor, but then they allow residential upstairs, or maybe only the first, a small area, let's say a window needs to be commercial and maybe 10 feet deep, but behind that you can even have residential. That's what they really need to start doing. And we're not seeing a lot of that yet, but there's a lot of small municipalities, and each seem to be attacking it differently.
Amazing. And what so with your investors that are coming to you this season, what are they looking for, or where are you steering them towards?
Not any particular area. We're still getting the people who are interested in short-term rentals. There's obviously a significant demand, and the numbers have increased, improved dramatically as to what people are able to charge on a nightly or weekly basis. So we are getting more of that. That's increasing in the area, but we still have a number of people coming in and looking at just single family homes, because there is, as there is everywhere, there's a lack of supply. And particularly as you bleed north, towards the Bruce, people are looking for longer term rentals. So there is that interest as well. And a lot of the old multifamily apartment buildings that used to be owned by, maybe a local farmer, who just invested years ago, maybe didn't really know how to run those operations properly and as efficiently as they can. Those are now turning over into the private sectors. So there's opportunities there as well, because the numbers may not look like it on paper for what they've done historically, but the opportunities are definitely there for people with the smaller multifamily units in a lot of these small communities.
Very awesome. Well, it is a beautiful place. Irismar and I love to go visit. There's a lot of history out there. And again, beautiful sunsets. So we will put in the comment section, Richard, on how to get in touch with you so investors can find something out your way. That's a gorgeous area there. Thank you so much, Richard, for the morning, taking the time. And Mike Seal, always thank you very much, gentlemen.
Okay, good chatting with you. Thank you.
Have a
Great
wonderful week,
stuff.
guys.
Okay, hope
Thanks
to see you
so
soon.
much. We will definitely. Thank you, Richard. Beautiful, beautiful area out there, Deanna. I don't know if you know that. Oh, you do know that area well. So yeah.
I do.
And
Yeah, I think it's a great time for a research trip.
research trip. Let's do it. Well, let's take our next guest onto the trip with us, Deanna. It's Mandy Branham, everybody.
Oh, my
Welcome,
favorite road
Mandy.
trip partner.
Good morning.
I think we would get in trouble on a road trip together. Yes.
I think so. The queen herself is in the house.
Yes, for everybody that's joining us this morning, Mandy Branham is known as the Queen of Joint Ventures. Thank you, Mandy, so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. This is awesome. What a great way to start my Monday morning.
I hope so. Thank you so much. So how does this start about, the Queen of JV? How did that begin?
You know what? You start by helping yourself, right? If every morning you get dressed, the world is a better place. But once you're dressed, you got to be able to make sure your kids are dressed. And then, of course, like me, make sure that my husband is dressed. Well, it started off in our real estate the same way. We started doing it for ourselves. And then we would have people that said, hey, the next deal you find, I'd love to be able to do it with you. And I was like, well, I actually have another one, and I have another one. And then people would come and say, I've been searching, but I can't seem to find what you're finding. And I was like, well, why don't we just partner? And then I realized that I was offering opportunities to people that they didn't have the time, they had the capital, they knew they wanted real estate, but that true connection to the asset. And maybe the partnership, they were like, well, husband had expectations or wives had expectations, and so the two of them just couldn't come in and agree on something. And then along comes Mandy, and it was like the decisions were gone because, of course, I was bringing the opportunity. So I often quote Zig Ziglar, and it says, find a way to help the many, for service to many leads to greatness. It doesn't say find a way to get rich, and if you get rich, other people will come and see you. That's not what it says. So that's kind of the evolution of the JV Queen, was that I just found something that was helping me. And then I was able to offer that opportunity. And we just came back from a beautiful wedding this past weekend of JV partners. And not the JV partners, it was their daughter. But, he said, I have made millions, passively in real estate. We've helped, I just guided a few wise words to the daughter who's started her journey in real estate. And my heart was full, realizing that these connections that I've made are so much bigger than real estate, and the hard times, the good times, the easy, the not so good. But, in the end, it's just people helping people.
Wow. Oh my
Wow.
gosh. I was fortunate to get to witness Mandy's journey back in those early days, back in the horse and buggies days. Hey, Mandy.
Yeah.
And I think you said something really important in there, that you were just able to get people to clarity very early on because of your no nonsense manner. You showed up authentically as yourself and said, here's what I got. Here's what I can do. Do you want to come along or not?
Yeah.
And I think you gave a lot of people courage by not being salesy or flashy or anything. You were just like, hey, and by the way, she was too busy to talk too much. She's like, this is what it is. And it was amazing to see, because people were either instantly attracted or they were like, oh, I'm too indecisive. But showing up authentically as yourself, showing people what could happen, and then a quick yes or no when they were in or out. It was incredible to watch, and you have changed lives.
I remember first couples that, I was like, so where are you looking for properties? And, literally the female or the whatever, one partner's looking in Alberta at whatever they were, and another partner was looking in Nova Scotia. And I was like, you guys can't decide on the type of asset, let alone the province, let alone the city. And, I say that to my designer. I remember one time she came in and she was like, we're coming over to do a color consult. And I was like, I'm already getting an overwhelm because I'm thinking she's going to bring in this wheel of colors that's going to blow my mind. And I said, I need you to bring me 2 colors and I will pick one. And I felt that about many of my JV partners where they were like, well, I would like cash flow and I'd like appreciation. I'd like a bird, but I don't really want, that scares me and this scares me. And I was just, and you're like, whoa. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 options and you can pick one. And then it just removed that, we talk about the analysis paralysis, but it is true. It's true for many people. And they're just like, hey, that's it. I just need somebody to take control, that I decide on the person that takes control, and the decisions of where the dishwasher goes and the color of the flooring and the contractor we hire, all of those decisions can be made by this person that we have chosen. That's it. That's the one choice. Do I partner? Do I not partner? Do I do it on my own? Go ahead. I believe that lots of people can buy real estate on their own, but you're going to have multiple decisions, and that's beautiful. But if somebody if they're struggling with decisions, just pick a partner, and the rest of those decisions they're less important about the person you've picked to be able to partner with.
That's brilliant. That first step is the hardest, right? And take action, take messy action, or take action with somebody who has done it, right? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a little messy action.
Fail forward, right? Fail forward. But and here we are, we're in the middle of 2023, and I'm like, welcome to the middle failure, right? And this not failure because nobody planned. It's not failure because we've done anything wrong. And maybe this isn't failure, but many of my partners right now, we've bought beautiful assets, renovated right, refinanced right, left reserve funds, and the mistake or didn't see that in my crystal ball, nobody cleaned mine off good enough for me here, was this interest rate change. So I'm having conversations with, nothing's comfortable, right? But maybe that's the point, is if we feel we're in this comfort zone, the universe goes, oh, they're a little bit comfortable over there. What are we going to do to be able to make them uncomfortable? And so I think this is, more adaptive again about, just hold on, buckle up. I'm here beside you now within my joint venture structures. Like, you're not doing this alone. This isn't like we haven't done anything wrong. But I think it's also really good to know about joint venture partnerships is you do have somebody to bounce ideas off of. And oftentimes after I get off the phone with joint ventures, there's this calmness that I feel. So I'll get an email that's like, oh my gosh, a tenant hasn't paid. Do we have the court date yet? Being mostly in Ontario, of course, we're dealing with LTB, which is outside of our control, so to speak. And, so I get these emails and I can feel their nerves rising, bank accounts, one little hiccup, and things are a little untilted. So I get on the phone and, I'm just like, we are here together, and I can feel the calmness. So again, if you're looking and wondering, can I do this on my own, but it might be beneficial to partner with somebody, then the power of joint ventures for multiple reasons, be able to diversify your investment portfolio, get into other provinces, other strategies that maybe you don't know enough about, or you want to try but don't want to try on your own. I love my joint ventures.
Well,
diversity things, when you've been in this a long time, you've been through these cycles. So, you're kind of like, hold my beer. We got this. We've seen something like this before. Right. And I love, when partners talk to each other, it's kind of like we used to joke about the insanity of getting a dog, and either mom or dad would always keep their mind and go, no, we can't have one. right? With joint venture partners, one of you might be panicking, but the other is staying calm. So talk to each other. Communication is so important. Yeah. And for those who haven't been through a down cycle, those of us who have been through a couple of them will tell you they always come back up. It may take a little longer than we like, maybe a little more uncomfortable than we like, but they always come back up, don't they, Mandy?
One of my statements is this isn't rocket science. So anybody who's considering becoming an active working partner, such as I did, I actually don't perceive that it's rocket science. I believe there's a lot of personal growth and education to do to be able to share this opportunity, but it's not rocket science. So actually one of my JV partners works in astrophysics. Like literally I was like, you're the closest thing I have to a rocket scientist. Okay. And he's like, I'll take it. And but yet, he calls and we're back and forth about, sharing these opportunities and what we're going to be able to do to them. But, it is problem solving. It is being resourceful at a time when resources are changing, times are changing, strategies are changing, people, that this business, as much as we're talking as investors, and I know, Jim, you said earlier, you put your hat on, right? Because you had to do some technical stuff. Well, we wear our investor hats. We continue to wear our investor hats. But there are times that we take those investor hats off. So I was having this conversation with my rocket science, and I said to him, if we're worried and we're having these concerns, high five to us, boom, because I said, the government's not worried about us. He's not worried about us. We're not the ones that they're concerned about the changing interest rates. Again, buckle up. It's the homeowners who have a husband and wife who are already struggling, 3 kids, and they're trying to decide, do we put them in competitive dance again, or do we have to take them out because we can't afford the tournaments and the weekends away and the restaurants and stuff like that? These change of interest rates, they're affecting homeowners. We're not homeowners. We're strategic real estate investors. So we have to be able to roll a little bit more and not get carried up in what the mainstream media is saying about interest rates and stuff, because we are strategic. That's what we are. We've got an extra couple thousand in our lines of credit and our HELOC and such like that, right? We can pull on it. And so we actually have the resources to be able to handle some of these ups and downs, and which homeowners do not.
That's right. There's a lot of fear right now with a lot of homeowners. And imagine with investors as well. But yeah, it's great points to bring up, and hopefully a lot of people don't get caught up in the hype of the news and the media, what they're saying.
No,
it's doom and gloom.
It is, but one of my fave statements is work harder on yourselves than you do on your job. People will ask, how did I become the JV queen? And that's kind of where we got, except I study a lot of human behavior. I study, how to communicate. I study, becoming the best version of myself, so that it is easy for people to say, okay, that girl's got confidence. Well, it's not confident. I mean, trust me, 2020, I was like, okay, I need to add a few things to my list that I didn't realize before, or why is this strategy? So, we were doing duplex conversions, and along comes COVID. And we would keep the property vacant for most of it, renovate the upstairs and then the down. And so sometimes we had the whole property vacant, but that didn't work for COVID, because we had months that we couldn't have too many contractors in there. They weren't doing inspections. And so we started to rent the upper unit. And there was some legalities that needed to be followed. We followed all of those, but we got the upper units rented in all of our duplex conversions. And so here we were now having $1,800+ for an upper unit, covering our costs. Whereas before, we didn't necessarily have to do that, because we were just rolling with things, and we could just boom, boom, boom through these legalizations and the permits and inspections and stuff like that. And then it was emergency brake. I'm like, okay, adapt to that. So that word adaptability, that word pivot, definitely was something that I embraced during COVID. And I think that this 2023 is just another one of those, like, just, almost being like, bring it on. Like, bring it on, universe. What do you got for me? Because I'm not saying that I'm not gonna cry, have a little breakdown every once in a while, but I'm gonna get back up and I'm gonna go, okay, how do I deal with this? What are the other people in my industry? Which is why I love shows like this, because I want people to hear, what are the other people doing? Oh, I'm not the only one crying at home. No, you're not. Just don't stay down any longer than the rest of us. Get back up.
Absolutely.
Authenticism right there. Oh my gosh, I love it.
We
Okay.
are soul sisters, my friend.
I know, amazing. And it's true. I mean, we have to share this stuff, right? It is amazing. It's, here we are. I'm living the investor lifestyle, so I'm going to sign off right away. But it's true. It's real. It's raw, and it's amazing. And people like Mandy will help you navigate this. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Take my money. Go work hard, Mandy.
Deanna, I know you
Deanna.
have to. I know you have an appointment to
Right.
get to, so thank you so much for
Thanks,
stopping in and
guys.
hanging out with us. Have a beautiful day, Deanna.
Okay. Thanks.
But you know what?
So
I think that's a great segue too, Jim, because I think there's a lot of people going, that's fine for you, Mandy. It worked in 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. But what's going on? We're in 2023 now. The market is shifting. Well, let me share why I still think the joint venture model, and I'll be very clear about the type of properties and how. So if somebody's there and they're making notes, I'm telling you, this is the genius right here. Okay, so I still believe that 2 to 4 units. So that's duplex, that could be single family conversions, triplexes and fourplex in smaller tertiary markets. Sudbury, I'm in Sudbury, I'm in Cornwall, I think Sarnia, I think Windsor, I think these tertiary markets. So you're looking for properties, $400,000 to $500,000. I know up in Sudbury, you can be buying multis, like 2-3 units in that $300,000 range right now, right?
Wow.
Yes. And I believe that I know for a fact, because I am on the other side, I'm a seller right now. And I know that if there was somebody that could see the genius of the assets that I'm selling at the price that I'm selling, there is lots of room for lift. So you're buying a $320,000, $330,000 duplex, potentially triplex. You are going in and you're adding value. There might be one vacant unit, because I don't suggest the whole getting properties vacant in this landscape. I think there's a lot of awareness to renovictions. There's a lot of awareness to things. And I just want people to play by the rules. Please play by the rules. So if you can find a property that has 1, maybe 2 units vacant, then go in, do the renovations on those units, and still have the ability to refi. The BRRRR model, in those 4 different strategies, I right now am saying you are making money off the buy. That's the first, it's the BRRRR model, but the B is really important right now. Make money in the buy. So if you can buy right, because there's pain on a seller's part, because there's lack of buyers, which means that you have more control, it's almost a buyer's market. You're going to get in, and yes, let's talk about it. Your interest rates are going to be high. Suck it up, Buttercup. Buy the asset. You're going to make more money on the buy because you have no competition right now, because the sellers need to sell. You're going to be able to negotiate tens of thousands of dollars off of purchase price. Okay, that totally trumps the fact that interest rates might be 5.5%, 6% for a year or two. Again, just like we were saying, it's homeowners who are struggling, not you as investors. So get over it, buy the asset, make money in the buy, renovate correctly. You can exit, you can still do a refinance on these assets at a higher value. So I believe that you could buy a duplex in that $300,000 range, put about $20,000, $25,000 worth of work, and you're going to be able to hit a 375, 380 appraisal. That pulls out a majority of your money, might leave you with $15,000, $20,000 left invested in this asset. Congratulations, home run. Joint ventures will be lining up to be able to partner with you with deals like that over and over again.
Incredible. Now, I heard you mention all those cities that are great cities to invest in. I know Toronto has made some changes to how many units they allow per house. Have you focused on the Toronto market at all?
So I'm going to continue to wear my joint venture hat, Jim. And a lot of people that are starting out in the working side, the expert side of joint ventures, when you say the Toronto market is so good, right? You got double land transfer, you got $1 million, which is fine. Maybe this $1 million property you can get for 800. So good, you're making money in the buy. Timelines for these kind of renovations, we're talking years. There was just recently some, very well-known investors and I followed, I loved it, but we're talking 2.5, 3 years to be able to bring these properties to where they are. All of this stuff is good. It's just, me, I'm an awareness level. So if you truly want the advice, pick a market and do 20 deals in that market, then come talk to me about Toronto. Okay. If you've already done 20 deals and you're ready to go into Toronto, go, because you've got that ability, that timeline, that patience. Okay. And you've got deep pockets, because these extra units, they're $250,000 to be able to build a laneway coach house, which is great. I'm not poo-pooing on any of that, but it's just an awareness level. So if you're a first-time joint venture partner, okay, or you're a financial partner and you're going, who do I partner with? And this is this person's first time going to Toronto and they're like, I can take a single family and put 5 units. That's not somebody I would partner with. And I'm pretty clear. I would because that's a heck of a lot of my money. I need 200,000 just for the down payment of the original house, some closing costs, carrying costs. Now you're talking, how much am I going to be to renovate this property, permits, all that kind of stuff, plus the coach house. I'd be looking at $600,000 to $800,000 to invest in that. That's a lot of risk for myself as a financial partner to take a bet on somebody who's in Toronto. Now, you take $600,000, and if somebody is listening to how I'm describing it, that is 6 assets that you could be buying in tertiary markets with $600,000. And you're like, well, Mandy, if it's 300,000, right? 300,000 is a $60,000 down payment, plus those closing costs, renovation and reserve fund, 100 grand per asset. Now you could buy 6 at one time, refinance out, and you might leave 150,000 invested in 6 assets in a year.
Wow. Good, great suggestion. Now, have you been focusing on bringing in ADUs to your properties, or is this not something that's worth it in your property and how you do things?
Again, I believe that ADUs are a good way to add units. Sure. Okay. But I have reviewed my entire portfolio. We've got over 100 properties sitting in our portfolio right now. And of those, there's like 13 that have the potential. But again, because I'm in a conservative mode right now, okay, I'm watching interest rates. Again, I'm aware that now that my partners and I own these properties, we split everything 50-50, okay? So we've done the refi, everyone's gotten their capital back, we're in maintenance mode. And if I go, hey, by the way, we could add an ADU, an extra unit in the back, let's say for nice round numbers, $200,000 to do that. 100 grand's out of my pocket, 100 grand's out of theirs. It wasn't necessarily part of the original proposal to them. So we're not missing out on anything. It's additional, but you also have to be able to make sure, where do you stand in your financing? If we go in with an extra 200,000 in this ADU, are we with the right lender? Please be aware of that. I mean, I'm a strategic investor on lots of levels. I want people to ask so many questions about exit financing that ADU before they even have a contractor come in and tell them that they can build an ADU. Okay. So do you see all these like catchy things going on? Ooh, Toronto, 4 or 5 units, ADU, everyone can do them. And here's Mandy going, I think those boring duplexes is where the money is made, is truly where the money is made.
Awesome. No, the ADUs, I mean, they're so new that it's hard for the banks to even give a valuation for the increase in the property, for the appraisal. So it might be a couple of years until that steadies out, until
Can
we
I describe
realize.
something to you, Jim? It's not the banks and the value, okay? The appraisers will go and give the value. The question you're asking is, how much will a bank allow for a secondary dwelling on my property? Okay, so just envision you've got a single family home and you build a garage, okay? And that garage is heated, maybe it has electricity, maybe not, but cement poured pad, and up goes your roof. 2 car, 1 car, whatever, right? And the bank goes, yeah, sure, we'll give you 50 grand for that, right? We'll allow you the single family plus the cost of a garage. You build a garage and a gazebo and a second garage and a back porch and an ADU, and the bank's like, wait a minute, we can't keep giving you value for all of these. So they actually only typically give you value on 2 structures, okay? 2 structures. And there's a maximum on that second structure, okay? So here's my story. And this was a few years ago. We had a small single family home and a 2-car garage beside it. Beautiful, like all this. And we said, we couldn't create a basement unit. There wasn't enough space in the basement and the head space and all this kind of stuff. But we could convert the garage to the secondary unit. And the garage was like 4 feet away from the house, not touching at all, okay? So we get through permits, you name it, we did it, fully legalized. Go to the bank. Excuse me, Mr. Bank, we'd like to refinance. So they send the appraiser back. The appraiser comes in. You're not going to believe this. I think we bought the property for like $325,000, $325,000. Okay. We spent $120,000 to legalize this detached dwelling, full house on the other side. She goes, value of your house, 320. You devalued your house because you took away the garage. I was like, I didn't devalue the garage. I added an entire house to the garage. She's like, nope, we can only give you value. She goes, you pick. Do you want me to value this one or do you want me to value this one? But the other one is only still going to be the value of a detached dwelling. Okay. 3 appraisals later, 3 different lending institutions later, okay? So not all lending institutions just want you to go and build this detached property and think that they're going to give you that much of a value. But that's the strategy. That's why, again, when, I partner with people and you're like, oh, I can find a duplex on my own. And I go, excellent, go and find that duplex on your own. What strategic working partners can do, again, here's some of these notes people need to make. I strategize the financing. Oh, that's great, Mr. JV. You would like 5 assets in the next 5 years? You've got a good job. Where's your current house? Where do you hold your mortgage? What kind of, give me an idea of your snapshot, because I'm going to strategize which lenders for which strategies I'm going to take them to for their financing. Wow. So if somebody's like, I want ADUs and this is what it is, I'm going to strategize because I know the lenders that lend to these kind of dwellings, these kind of ADUs, these kind of duplexes, these kind of cities that the duplexes are in. So as a working partner, it's so much more than just, oh, I can find an asset, come and partner with me. It's, tell me, Mr. JV partner, what you're looking for, and let's build the portfolio around what it is that you have. And ADU financing is essential. It's essential that people ask, who am I buying this property with, to be able to make sure that they can exit once that ADU is built.
Well, I love how you take a relationship-based approach to it with your partners, so that you understand their needs and what they want to achieve and their goals, and try to build that portfolio around that. That's wonderful. Are you noticing lately, with a little bit of a dry up of financial joint venture partners out there being available to put money around for this, or what's going on in this current environment?
So I call it, I've been on my Matthew McConaughey break. Okay. So Matthew McConaughey did rom-coms. There he is showing his body off. He's married. He's doing all these lovey-dovey movies. And he was like, that's not the actor that I want to be anymore. And so he took a break, and in his book, Green Lights, he describes it lovely. And he was like, it was 18 months and nobody's calling him because he'd been saying no to all these movies, but he needed a break. He wanted to come and re-enter the acting world with a different version of himself. And that's when he came out and he did Dallas Buyers Club. He did The Wolf of Wall Street. Remember, he was that character in there, and a variety of others. But he took a break for people to go, this is the old Matthew, this is the new Matthew. Well, so to address your question, I've been taking a Mandy JV break because logistically, my small 2 to 4 units was difficult. Okay. I have a lot of partners. We have a lot of assets. We're overseeing the management of a lot. I'm now managing the managers. And if that manager messes up, I'm up there, and I'm actually heading, because that's how connected I am. The buck stops with me. And so I'm taking full responsibility, and I'm getting properties, reorganized. Okay. But so, has the JV money dried up? No, I had a 42 unit, raised the money to be able to buy this 42 unit building in Toronto. And so it's just a different clientele. It's just a different financial partner. It's a different strategy. And I actually have been needing people to pledge to me. Okay. There is so much money that is still ready for 2 to 4 units. 2 to 4 units, small residential JVs, please. I'm begging people to step into that active small JV partner role, because there is still so much money that is ready to be put onto those type of properties, to be able to do 12-month burrs, to be able to, buy smaller with, residential financing and jump into them, and away you go. For 2 people to partner, like, there's just so many advantages to it. And I'm going to use that number again. Once you've got 20 properties with joint ventures, come and talk to me. Okay. But until then, you've got 1 and 2, none of this. I'm overwhelmed, blah. Figure it out. You're going to be in overwhelm. There's going to be a bunch of parts that you're going to be feast or famine. But I know, Jim, that there's still so many people right now that are sitting on capital, that have sold assets, that have sold stocks, that have sold businesses, and they're still saying, I can handle it. Yes, they're sitting on some HELOC money. And here's this statement again, right? Oh, my HELOC money is so expensive. Sweetheart, then you're not ready to be in the real estate industry if your HELOC is too expensive. Okay, I know that's a pretty broad statement, isn't it? Yeah. But if somebody can't handle a HELOC changing, how are they going to handle one tenant not paying? I remember these one JVs, and they said to me, I just don't understand how a tenant could not pay. Is there nothing we can do? And I was like, no. And she goes, but how does she even live with herself? And I was like, see, I don't sign up for that class. I don't want to go into the mind of a tenant who's not paying me. That's just like a low vibrational thought process. But so I kind of do the same thing, and if somebody can't handle a HELOC payment, then don't step into the fire. And but if you're ready to be able to invest in real estate, and I'll tell you, me, I don't leave people stuck in the mud. Here's how we did it. We went to the bank, and the bank says, we'll give you 80% loan to value on your house. And I said, I want a mortgage. Okay. Why? Because 30 days later, my mortgage is here. My mortgage is a higher payment, but I have $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, whatever it was at the time, sitting in a bank account. Okay. This payment is painful. This money sitting in the bank account is painful too. This makes me take action. Okay. A lot of people with HELOCs, I call them their HELOCs, and their HELOCs make them feel all warm and cozy. And they're like, it's okay, Mandy, I don't pay for my HELOC unless I use it, right? It's all cozy because they don't have to use it. And then they're like, well, I would like an asset that covers my HELOC payment, and if it doesn't cover my HELOC payment, I'm just going to stay where it's warm and cozy. And 3, 4, 5, 10 years go by, and they're sitting on a HELOC that they've never used. Because it's so comfortable. A HELOC creates comfort. Okay. So I go fix my mortgage payment. I'm like, guess what? I need an asset because that money is ticking away in my bank account. So I bought assets Okay, I bought assets and then I slowly, and the bank's not going to lend you what you can't afford. If the bank says, I know 80% is what you'd like, but, based on your income and whatnot, we're going to give you 65 or 60% loan as a mortgage. Take it. Take it as a mortgage. Whatever the bank says you can have. I mean, they have regulations. Let them have those regulations. Take a mortgage. Use that cash and go and buy something with the cash, or invest, become a passive investor. There's lots of different ways to be able to do that, but I'm an asset girl. Assets, go and buy assets. And so take that capital and go and buy assets. So I'm not worried about a property covering my mortgage payment, because I cover my own mortgage payment with my own income. Okay. And now I have this cash, which is not from a HELOC. That's what I went and invested with. Next thing you know, you own 3-4 assets. Bingo. And you have a big mortgage. Oh, well.
There you have it. Wow. Everybody just got a lesson there in JV. Thank you so much. That's amazing, Mandy. Ton of great information there. I hope everybody was taking notes. I'm certainly going to be rewatching this one just to get some notes out of that. So thank you. I appreciate you spending the time on here, coming on Rise and Shine this Monday morning. And I do have to, Erismar's not here, but she always asks, do you have a book or a podcast, Mandy, that you listen to that has inspired you lately, or that you're getting great value out of?
So I'm going to give you one of each. So the podcast I'm listening to right now that just continues to speak my language, that rawness, that realness, is Alex Hormozi. It's called The Game. He is a marketing guy, it's online marketing. So what I take from him is just strategies, again, with my joint venture model hat on. It's ways to be able to talk to people, that no bullshit. Where's my time best going? And the audiobook that I'm reading, like probably for the third time, is The Creature from Jekyll Island. Okay, Creature from Jekyll Island. Oh, it's down here. Oh, look at that. It even started on me there. Creature from Jekyll Island is about the creation of the Federal Reserve in the United States. And for me, it's a major awareness. History repeats itself. This is not the first time that governments have created a whole, I'm not even going to get into it, but they've created a whole heck of a lot of money to be able to help out the people. And this book describes what are some of the things that we will see afterwards. So it's kind of like an awareness factor for us. And for me to be able to say, like, this too shall pass. Here we are. This isn't the first time that this has happened. But it also just reminds us that we're pretty small people in the big game of life. Stop thinking our problems are like the end of the world. Look at it. I love that I'm even hearing my own words say these right now. And I'm grateful that you've been able to ask. So people, I do want to share with you that, as I share my experiences, it's a reminder to myself, don't get caught up. These problems too shall pass. There's nothing that ever gets put on your plate that you aren't able to handle. But I'm still telling you, real estate is a vehicle that I will turn to again and again, to continue to build wealth and for generations to come.
Wow. Oh, I love the mindset, Mandy. Thank you so much for sharing that. And the audiobook does sound extremely interesting. That's right up my alley. So I'll definitely listen to that. Thanks for suggesting that. And thank you, everybody, for watching. I appreciate Mandy coming on. You can hang on just for a moment, Mandy, as we end this off. Everybody have a wonderful week. Be good to one another and reach out if you ever need any help or support with anything.
Have a good day, guys.
Thank you so much.